Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great Friday. I hope everyone's also staying safe. These are trying times. So welcome to the first Hash Growth Mixer for 2022. We have a whole bunch of such mixers planned across various formats. This would have ideally been like an in-person mixer so that we could see the entire community in one place, but I'll have to wait. But welcome nevertheless. We have, what would hopefully be a value-packed session for all of you. I'll just take a couple of minutes to give you some context about what hash growth is, what this community is. So hash growth is the name that we give to a series of community initiatives that was founded by MoEngage way back in 2019, because back then when we started interacting with our users, with our prospective customers and so on, what we found out was that, growth teams, marketing teams, product teams, CRM teams, in their quest to grow lifetime value from their customer base, employ a wide variety of tools and experiments and tactics and strategies. But this is all happening in silos. And we felt that there was a need to sort of bring the community together so that, experts and leaders, people who have been there, done that, can sort of share, case studies, best practices, war stories. So we created this community, which, I think over the past few years, we have done hundreds of such mixers, virtual, in-person, etc. And we also have a bunch of other initiatives planned, but the overall ethos or the objective is to bring peers together, bring leaders and folks who would want to learn from these leaders. And that's what this event is all about too. Now, I would encourage all of you to head over to hashgrow.org. The website is in fact also going through an overhaul. What you'll find there is, sign up. We'll notify you of events that keep happening, events like this. There's also an academy which has, I would say, structured education courses that have been put up by, again, leaders and experts in the growth space, teaching about, onboarding, retention, customer engagement, and so on. And yeah, we have a pretty rich set of resources in our library. And keep your eyes peeled for a bunch of announcements around our hash growth initiatives. There's also a Slack community which is coming soon, which hopefully would be this watering hole where we can all hang out and answer each other's questions. So let's start with today's session. The first session is quite an exciting one. We're going to talk about how insights-led engagement is just so crucial. I think we're already seeing this, and this is the future, right? Where we're able to look at insights, look at data, and create a highly personalized experience to engage with users. And we have a bunch of B2C leaders, growth leaders, who would share their expertise and share their stories with us. We have Ashish from Acco, we have Ved from Razorpay, we have Priyank from MoEngage, which is part of the Tata Group, and we have Jinal from Wellness Forever. I would request Sagnik to take the stage now and lead this conversation. Sagnik is an enterprise growth consultant here with MoEngage. So over to you, Sagnik.
Hey, thanks, Arun. Thanks so much for that nice introduction into hash growth, and thank you so much to our panelists for taking out the time today. I would like to have a quick introduction from everyone before we go into the nitty-gritties of the topic today. We can start with Ved, perhaps.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me here. A big hello to all of the people who've turned up. I hope all of you are safe and sound. Your loved ones, employees, colleagues, everybody is safe and sound. We live in pretty crazy times. Hopefully, it looks like we are the fag end of these crazy times. I hope all of you are safe and sound. And thank you so much for turning up here. Thank you for having me over. I take care of the SME and the startup practice at Razorpay. I take care of both marketing and sales. Also wear a couple of other hats in life. I serve as a visiting adjunct faculty member in marketing at quite a few B schools. I am Bangalore, Indore, Kashipur, the University of Vermont, and serve as a marketing mentor, working with various startup acceleration programs, various TIE chapters, Atal Innovation Mission with the Government of India, SEA Accelerator in Southeast Asia, and a few other accelerator chapters as well. Previously led marketing for multiple digital brands. Very excited to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Hey, thank you, Vij. Thank you so much. Priyank, how about you?
Yeah, thanks, Agnik. So I had the marketing partnerships and the growth for Tata 1MG. Also, I have been key instrument for building the brands from scratch to 1 or to 10 or 200. And currently, I have seen a lot of growth in Tata 1MG because of COVID and because of the Tata acquisition. So I hope everyone is safe and sound and do follow all the protocols because COVID is still there. And we have to together fight with this particular pandemic. Thank you.
Very rightly said, Priyank. Thank you so much. Ashish.
Hey, hi, thank you, the MoEngage team and Sagnik for having me here. Now, Ashish, I've spent 14 years in banking with HSBC. Last couple of years has been in ACO. My core competency is in brand strategy and brand marketing, and that's where I thrive and I really enjoy. So looking forward to this discussion today.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks, Ashish. And Jinal.
Hey, hi everyone, I'm Jinal. I had the marketing automation piece for Wellness Forever. For those of you who do not know Wellness Forever, it's a pharma retail exponentially expanding into various geographies of the country. Here, my core KPI is to look at engagement automation for our omni-channel business. We are recently expanding into the app, web, and the other channels for my users to interact with us, engage with us. So that's the biggest KPI. Also, give my feedback on the products, how we can run with what new has come in the market. Juggling my hand on branding, bringing humanization to data. So this is what I do at Wellness Forever. Every day is a new challenge, and I'm glad to be a part of this panel. I worked very closely with the MoEngage team for the past 1.5 years, and I hope I can share my knowledge with everyone on the the audiences. And please feel free to ask questions whenever you would want to post this session. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jinal. I think we're already getting accustomed to quite interesting terms like humanization of data, as you have just mentioned. And given that our topic today is an insights-led approach to acquisition, engagement, and retention, what we are seeing is essentially brands across verticals, geographies are becoming increasingly customer-centric, right? They're doing away with the spray and pray kind of an approach and adopting more and more analytics-driven and insights-led approach into their entire engagement strategy, whether it be a singular channel, whether it be an omni-channel. And that's essentially going to be our main course of discussion today. And all the esteemed panelists that we have today, right? You all are from brands that have led the way towards a customer first mindset, right? And thus it has become all the more important for us to accurately analyze customer actions, behavioral data, understand how to meaningfully engage with customers. That's why I'm curious to know at this point, how important is it to have an insights-driven or an insights-led approach to engagement for your brand? And how do you go about implementing such a thing? I think we can start with Jinal, if you can share your thoughts on the same.
So how I look at it is like I'm communicating with one person, and then I actually communicate with lakhs of my customers and still make it feel like it's in person with each of them. And how I do that is by segmenting my audience and then, of course, personalizing it. I have to tell that the technology that we have today is far superior to what I had when I started 7 years back. Today, I'm able to literally speak to each of my customer like I was talking to him one-on-one. I think this drastically shows how my click-through rates have increased because people feel that, they are being heard. We know what they want. They feel that we value their opinion, what they do on my platform. The actions that they are doing are being valued by the brand. And we are then engaging with them only on what actions they have taken. So I think if I just had to generalize and say what I do, I try to segment my audience based on what actions they are taking on my platform. given my platform serves user in multiple domains. We are a pharma retail, so right from medicines to the gamut of categories like baby care and elderly care, sexual wellness, and so many more. I just try to engage with people based on what they want right now. And that's only possible when I segment the users and then try to personalize it.
Got it. Got it, Jinal. With coming from your perspective, since Razorpay is a bit different in how it functions, right, compared to how typical D2Cs function, I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well as to, I mean, do you echo or resonate the same thoughts, or do you feel that in your case the approach is a bit different? How you look at things is also a bit different.
Yeah, totally, Sagnik. So if you look at it for any B2B SaaS business, the dreaded C word, is something that makes a lot of marketers, sit up in the night with a cold sweat, which is churn.
Yep.
So making sure that you have a very strong engagement playbook to be able to engage with your audiences and to limit that leaky bucket, that becomes very important. So at Razorpay, we've done multiple things. Obviously, the SME business has grown significantly in the last couple of years in terms of acquisition momentum, new acquisition momentum. We're humble enough to admit that a lot of it has been due to, the pandemic itself, macroeconomic factors at play, etc. But as a brand, we've been able to take advantage of this rising upsurge. But what we've also done very well is to manage the entire customer life cycle with a very strong engagement playbook, something that we are most proud of. So one thing that we've noticed is that as SMEs and startups sign up on the Razorpay platform and as their business continues to grow on the Razorpay platform, we have proactive alerts from a product perspective. We work very closely with our partners in crime and product to make sure that we're able to provide a customized, bespoke experience to that startup, depending on at what point in the life cycle each of the startups are and which industry they belong to. So for example, a Jinal would get a different kind of a call to action compared to an Arun, compared to a Priyank, compared to a Sagnik, depending on which category they belong to. What is their growth trajectory? Have they recently received funding? Have they recently not received funding? We look at a bunch of different data points like these and craft a bespoke engagement path and a bespoke cross-selling, upselling strategy. So for example, I would pitch a subscriptions to a Jinal, but I would not pitch a subscriptions to an Arun. I would probably pitch a payment page. I would pitch a current account solution to a Sagnik, things like these. I would pitch a proactive discounted playbook to a Priyank just to make sure that I get the maximum possible wallet share, because I know that his GMV is on the upswing and I don't want him being poached by competition. So we look at a bunch of different data points like these, social media signals, public information, news which is available in the public domain, our own internal growth trajectory, and we decide and we craft a bespoke engagement plan. The other example that I'd like to give you is, from my experience at Simply Learn. Simply Learn, as most of you would know, is one of the world's leading professional certification solutions, online professional certification solutions. And, this was a company which was doing fairly well, right? Strong EBITDAs, strong gross margins, made real money, right? And it had positive cash flows. But the biggest problem statement was it had very low repeat behavior. So if I've just convinced, say, Jinal to spend $15,000-$20,000 of her hard-earned money in picking up a digital marketing certification program, going to be a pretty difficult conversation for me to get her to spend another $20,000 in picking another certification. So what we then did was we pivoted the brand to the entire narrative of saying, I am not just a training partner for Jinal, but I'm here to provide Jinal a customized learning path. And Jinal here, depending on, based on your career goals, based on our understanding of your career goals, you're here at the base of this mountain. You want to get to this peak, which is the aspirational CMO role. For example, if you're in the marketing track, chief data scientist role, if you're in the data science track. And for getting there, you need to go through Basecamp's ABC. Essentially a bundled offering, if you think about it, but it was crafted, pitched, packaged, and sold as a customized learning path for Jinal. What Arun would get would be completely different. So a classic example of how we use data and user behavior on our platform to make sure that we're able to tailor customized engagement plans. And
with what you're saying, in your case, it's not just about tailor-made engagement plans, but essentially your entire product pitch itself changed because of the kind of insights and analytics.
Everything comes into play. When we say engagement, it's multiple things that obviously add value, are synergistic to the end customer. And we also bring in specific product features from our basket of offerings, which can add value to them.
Definitely. This is
making sure that it doesn't appear a force fit. That is the key.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is very interesting, the line that we are on, and I'm sure the audience would also appreciate. I mean, what I would love to understand here is that what is involved in the implementation of such a strategy, right? I mean, when we talk of insights-led engagement, when we talk about how analytics, how data, how understanding customer behavior is changing the way we are looking at customers, we're engaging with customers, even the way we are crafting our products, right? And curating it to the mindsets of the customers. In terms of processes, could you, I would love the panelists to shed some light on what are the metrics or what are the matrices that you're looking at as well, and how are you implementing this actually on a rudimentary level? Perhaps Ashish could shed some light on the same.
Sure. I think we are in a category, right, in which engagement is so difficult because you buy once and then you don't turn up for the next 12 months. So for us, it's a completely different ballgame on how we approach. So just at a macro level, right? If you take auto insurance as a product, right? We got 3 sets of consumers who sort of walk into our ecosystem. One who just drop it their number, they don't even go and check out for really what is there to offer. And the other is people who come in, check out the code but don't buy. And third is actually people who buy. Now, people who buy, I know they're not going to be engaged with us for the next 1 year, and while the next 10 to 12 months when I start talking to them. So for example, for us, one of the biggest tasks there is, what should I give you a reason to come back to the app or to the ecosystem? Why would you even look at it, right? And I need to give you some of the self-help things, right? You can edit your policies, stuff like that. We figure out, we keep testing what sort of brings them back. But I think more importantly, is the win backs, the people who come and come and take in the code. What is the next best thing that I need to pitch to? So you came in, you looked at is there a trust issue with the brand? Was there a dissonance in trying to understand? See, what I understand also is, for me, I'm actually competing with a real life person. Right? There is a real life person who helps somebody go through this whole process and makes it easier for them. That's why people tend to go to that person. And if I don't provide that level of engagement on the app and make you comfortable and make you feel empowered that you're actually taking through the journey, I will not succeed. And that's where when people drop off, when they start dropping off, that's where we start to look at data and look at insights, saying what could be the possible reasons. And obviously over a period of 4-5 years, we've learned a lot on how to make sure that we are actually providing you the best solutions to help you navigate that journey. I think that is where we sort of play with the game. I think initially when we were setting it up, it was all about, okay, let's try this, let's try that. Over a period of time, with a lot of experimentations, we sort of now have a good handle of, okay, what are the best practices moving the journey. I think we're still, I won't say struggling, but we're still a long way to go in keeping an year-round engagement for somebody who's actually is an existing customer. So lots of ideas on there and on what can be provided. That is in the pipeline.
I think just to push a bit on your trail of thought there, I think we've also seen Acco grow 120% over the course of the last 1 year in the auto insurance sector as well. So that has been significant. I understand you're talking of a bit of a struggle, but I see that you're growing pretty well. So what has been that secret sauce in that case, Ashish? I mean, how are you challenging the traditional offline space with which people have been so accustomed to, right? And you have brought in a paradigm shift. And given that I have been working with Acco since my past organization itself, I have seen your growth right from the rudimentary stages, Ashish. So would love to hear on that as well a bit.
I think you're too kind. Thank you. It's a long way to go for us. I think what I fundamentally believe is that we do offer a better option compared to what exists in the market. And one of the reasons we felt was that I joined in 2010-20 in the middle of pandemic, and coming from outside, I did feel that Acco was India's best kept secret. I don't know why it was only popular in Bangalore and in certain communities. And so one of the fundamental thing was to just go out and introduce yourself. Hey, we are Acco, we do this, and try and bring in people into the ecosystem. That sort of work. And what has happened is, with the volume of people actually coming in, and as you rightly said, we are discovering newer sort of things that we need to improve upon. Where are the breaking points of certain systems, and how do we deliver them? See, as you rightly said, we are competing with the established traditional brands, which are respectful. Brands like Tata, Bajaj, we have tremendous amount of respect against with these people, and to be able to compete, it's a different ball game. We're talking different league. We are in the they are in Champions League, and I'm still in League One, right? So we're trying to get promotion to the next level. So, but I think we are beginning to at least pique consumer interest in saying, check us out. See if you see real value, and if we are doing all things right, you will find real value, and hopefully you'll consider us for the next percent. So that's I think at a very macro level, that's the thought.
Wonderful, wonderful. Priyank, here I would love to come to you, because in your industry over the course of past 1 year is what I've seen, that consumers, at least from a very narrow perspective, I mean, I see my friends, my family, from that perspective itself, I see that majority of I mean, the people that I know, right, they have shifted to online ordering, specifically for medicines, even for tests for that matter, right? So that has been a huge paradigm shift is what I have been seeing. Would love to know your thoughts. And even in these lines, right, I mean, are you doing anything specific when it comes to insights-led engagement, which looks at how the customer is thinking and what is involved in your process as well?
Yeah, sure. So, Sagnik, as you rightly mentioned, this industry has seen a lot of new things because of obvious reasons, COVID and all that. And if I put it very very right straight away, we have seen a huge shift, a huge tremendous shift of the consumer psyche, and the people who are very much have a good affinity towards offline. Still, they have an affinity towards offline because of the obvious reasons. But we have seen that people are moving towards online medium from offline, and the reason is very simple. The data shows that whenever a person who is going to offline has to come out of the house, that is not convenient because of the COVID and all. uh, you know uh, Online ordering is very much convenient. You get a good discount, you get a delivery at a very faster pace, and what Tata also brings in is the trust value. So I think the doubt elements which were there in the consumer's mind, and because of which they were quite reluctant to move from offline to online medium, is now being diminished. And now, because of the external circumstances and the companies like us who are taking a very good stand in in building a brand value, this makes our customers removing all the doubts, bringing trust in their minds, and then the paradigm shift is happening from online to from offline to offline. Having said that, it's not like that offline is purely dead. Also, Tata 1mg is also catering into offline stores, and we have opened a couple of stores in the Gurgaon, and we are also having a plan for more stores, but it will be omni-channel experience for the customers. Coming to your second point, Sagnik, as you mentioned, that engagement and the data-driven engagement strategy is very important for a brand like us. Our as a marketer, our day in day out job is to look at the data and to take a corrective action against that. So whatever CRM campaigns that we are running, whether it's a silos campaign or whether we are running the journeys and all that, we analyze those journeys and we analyze those campaigns at a very minute level to understand where we are lacking, what is the thing that customer wants from us, and what are the things that we are not able to give to the customers. Where is the gaps? We always try to fill those gaps by bringing correct value to the customer, so that the customer gets attached. Once he is acquired, he gets attached to Tata 1mg forever, because our category is also that like that. Because once you start ordering, the medicines is a recurring phenomena. So we always want that the customer, once the customer is being acquired, that customer is retained for a longer time. So I think we analyze the data day in day out in our company and take corrective actions based on those particular data.
Wonderful, Priyank. So Priyank, in this case, again, given what you have just mentioned, would just like to follow up on that point a bit. Have you seen any changes in the way you engage customers after, let's say, moving to a more insights-led approach? And if that is the case, could you share some use cases as well, wherein specifically you have seen this?
Yeah. So we have introduced new ways of engagement, Sagnik, in our in Kata 1MG. The typical methods like Facebook, Google, and all those methods are there, still prevalent. But now we are going to a little depth in the CRM. Also, we are using dynamic discounting based strategy, where based on the customer profiling, we give you the discount. We also are understanding different cohorts of the customer, who are recurring customers, who are customers for diabetes, who are customers for BP, who are customers for heart disease, through which we are pitching them a right amount of medicine at the right time, that your bucket might be might be empty. Please refill the bucket right away, and please get this particular discount straight away. So I think personalized approach at the right moment of the time, and dynamic discounting based on the customer profiling is what we have changed in our engagement strategies.
Nice, very nice, very nice. Jinal, I'm sure you are also doing a lot of new things currently. Would love to hear from you as well as what are the strategies that you're taking. Any specific use cases that you've seen has brought in a lot of success for Wellness Forever? Would you like to share with us?
Given that the platform is very nascent and then we're actually growing every day, what we do is we try to analyze not only how to upsell, cross-sell a customer, but also where we are dropping off in terms of our operations. So we try to segment users. We see why people have not probably repurchased with us, reordered with us. We pull out those lists. We then actually try to map it with our operational excellence team. We see if we were able to cater them their needs on time. So we go to the extent from a customer's ordering to his last mile delivery, and then try to analyze where the ball dropped. Also, we try to segment the users and amp up their LTVs, given that we have a host of users who have now adopted online omni-channel experience with us, and they were actually once upon a time our store customers. So we try to bring the customers who have this affinity to walk into the stores for purchasing their monthly medicines. We try to indulge a shift to the online experience, and given them as the best use cases, we try to replicate their behavior on the platform in our onboarding journeys, in our other purchase journeys for the other users to follow. So we just try to take a loyal customer and then study their behavior, study how they're interacting, and then replicate it for the rest. And because of that, we've seen a huge increase in the conversions that our onboarding journey that we have changed right now. So compared to the one that we had, let's say a year ago, which was very vanilla and just basic, now the one that we have, which we have then churned out basis on my best loyal users use cases, we've seen exponential growth there.
Interesting. So these are all the good parts, right? But I'm sure that especially when it comes to data, the viability of data, also collecting customer information and collecting this data as well. I'm sure that a lot of challenges have come up as well, right? And any specific challenges that you have had while collecting customer data or leveraging the correct amount of data when it comes to data discrepancy and that having an impact on your user journeys and all of these?
Because the segment is very large, and then people's purchase behavior sometimes is periodic, but most of the times it's also one-off. So a customer who has an affinity of purchasing, let's say a category, and then suddenly buys another segment, just as a one-off purchase for a friend, relative, somebody, it does put the numbers off for us, and somewhere it does mess up with the segmentation. However, we still try to steer clear of all those problems, and then try to mix our online offline data, which again is a very big challenge. Cross-channel data, if you just want to bring it, the offline data, which is so rich, the one that we actually try to look at in our Excel sheets day in, day out, trying to bring sense to that and trying to replicate it on the platform is one of the biggest challenges we've seen.
Got it. Ashish, any challenges that you might have faced in this specific journey?
Sorry, Sagni, was that for me?
Yeah. Yeah, Ashish.
Sorry, could you repeat the question, sir?
So the question essentially is that we're talking about insights-led engagement right now. What is critical in such a scenario is the data which comes onto us, right? So have you faced any challenges while collecting customer information? Has there been data discrepancy, which has perhaps led to sometimes goofing up on the kind of results that you would have liked to see? Any challenges that you have faced in this insights-led approach?
So not in terms of collection of data. So I think we primarily work with trying to create a sort of a surrogate profile based on most on the data points you get, right? And trying to see where is the data coming in handy. The data is coming in handy, especially in the pricing engine, right? For me to be able to differentiate how Sagnik is a driver compared to Ashish, that's where it plays a big role. And I think one of the best examples that Varun also goes, right? So we sort of get an idea of what's your Amazon delivery address and what's your Amazon shipping address. Between these 2 points of data, we sort of take a guess saying how much do you drive every day. Now, given that, that helps me do a better calculation. So Ashish drives 1,000 kilometers a month versus Sagnik just drives 500. Chances of me getting an accident is twice more than what you have, right? So collecting those data, these are very, I would say, elementary examples of how we're using the data, but I think collection is not a big issue because we're not actually asking for more information. We're pulling a lot of information from existing databases like Vahan and Aadhaar and stuff like that and Civil. So that's where we are in terms of that.
Ved, in your case, do you feel in the B2B space, the experience is a bit different?
In what context, Agnik?
When it comes to data discrepancy and having proper data available with you to drive such insights-led engagement, right? I mean, you have been doing quite a bit of, let's say, very, very specific kind of a marketing approach, right? Where you're looking at behavior and all of these things. So do you face challenges while getting the data in place, which tells you about the customer behavior?
I mean, obviously there are quite a few challenges, but when it comes to, crafting customized engagement strategies, you need to look at a couple of different data points which are extremely important. One, essentially, data points that provide you a very strong indicator of the demographic profile, the Janam Kundli of your prospect or your customer, those kinds of data points. The second kind of data point, which is also very important, is behavioral data points on your own platform. So you need to make sure that you have you over-index on both. Over-indexing on just one is insufficient. You need to have a combination of both of these data points. So for example, I know that Sagnik is an entrepreneur, an SME startup entrepreneur, a D2C entrepreneur, who is from, say the fashion category, which I know historically converts really well. He's coming from a marketing channel that I know historically converts well. He's coming in through SEO, the organic marketing channel. I know that historically converts well. So all of these bump up Sagnik's lead scores. I have these data points about Sagnik. But what I also know about Sagnik are his behavioral indicators. Sagnik is like regularly opening and clicking every single email that I send. Sagnik is regularly registering and attending and turning up for my webinars, just like this one. Right? I know that Sagnik has visited my pricing page 3 times in the last 4 days. So making sure that you have all of these accurate data points helps you stitch together a very accurate digital Janam Kundali of Sagnik, which takes into account demographic, geographic, and behavioral inputs. So one of the biggest challenges is being blindsided on data and not having complete set of data points. A lot of brands, especially when you're very early stage, and which I can completely empathize with, is they don't have a very accurate picture of the digital Janam Kundali of their prospect. They have data points which are just, demographic data indicators that they ask on the lead gen form, or just geographical indicators, which are quite often insufficient for them to know the level of propensity or the level of conversion affinity for that particular prospect. So making sure that you have all of these indicators is extremely essential, especially more so in the B2B space, even more than B2C.
Got it. And I think I have one last question, which is essentially mostly from everybody, is if there was one piece of advice that you would have given to anyone looking to implement an insights-led approach to customer engagement for their specific brands, what would that be? And I would love everyone to just take a quick stab at this question and help out budding entrepreneurs and budding marketeers in their journey. I think we could start with perhaps Priyank.
So I think one advice is that for the budding entrepreneurs or the founders or the marketeers is that the challenges that I think Ved, Ashish, Jinal, and from my side also Tata 1MG is that data is the fuel for any company, whether it's a marketing, whether it's supply chain, whether it's finance and all that. So, and many a times the source of the data is not one, but it is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the data don't marry with each other. So I think all the founders and all the entrepreneurs or the marketeers should look for a perfect solution, perfect marketing solution, perfect tool, which can marry all the data together and can bring out a good insight for your customers, so that you can take a corrective action whenever needed. Wherever there are gaps, you can fill those particular gaps and get the right growth, right ROI ROI at the right time. That's pretty important. Second important thing is that please take decisions based on your data and not on your own gut feel and all those things. These are not the right way of taking the decisions. Data is very important. If you slice and dice the data in the best possible manner, and whatever KPIs you are into, whatever industry you are into, and whatever KPIs that is being important for the particular industry, one has to look those KPIs and then take a particular decision for the future planning. I think these are the two advices that I will give to.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anyone else with a small piece of advice for?
So I just go. So
Sure,
the first advice is have a planner, but stay agile. And although there are planners, try to be agile with what communication you want to run today. Every day in the morning, look at the data from your previous day and a day previous to that, and then make a call on what communications will roll out today. Because at least our industry is very seasonal, very topical, and very, it changes like almost every day. What people want to purchase today is very different from what they wanted to yesterday. So see data every day, be agile, have a planner, but try to course correct every day. Also try to humanize data. We all have now gotten into this habit of doing data crunching for everything. The one missing piece I think which is there is we're not humanizing our data. So think of data from a customer standpoint as well as an entrepreneur standpoint, and then try to roll out a communication. And my last advice is, whenever in doubt, do A/B testing. And when you're very sure, do ABC testing. So that's very important for all marketeers to have proof of concept. So although I may like a certain communication, it's very important that I, experiment with what goes out and what my customer at the end of the day wants to click at.
Understood. Understood.
So, yeah, I think two phrases come to my mind. I think one of the favorite shows is called Curb Your Enthusiasm. I don't know.
Yeah, Larry.
Yeah, and the other is with great power come great responsibility. So I think when you see this rich data, right, which Priyanka was talking about, which comes to you, I think just keep remember these two things in your mind. Curb your enthusiasm. That you're just gonna look at this rich data and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. But I think more than the data, and slightly, and I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, I'm just saying I sort of put a little more flavor to data, saying after data tells you, but at the end of the day, every data point is a customer, right? And there's at least a behavioral or attitudinal lens to that you should apply. Then that probably will give you another edge to look at the data. 100%, the starting point has to be the data, but what you do also is just put another lens to it. But also, I think there is a point with great fear, I say this is to a forum like this. It's about striking a balance in the engagement. At what point of time do you say, okay, this is enough? I'm going to leave him for the next 6 months and I'm going to come back to him after 6 months. And not, where is that balance? And I think that those are the two things that will help you build a great brand that people appreciate, don't find intrusive, don't find too peeping into, like you. And that's really, I think, the core as you start on this journey.
Got it, Ashish. I think we have 3 or 4 questions here, so we would like to quickly go through them, although we are overshooting the time over here. Ved, I would like to pose the first question to you. So Kshitij Raj is asking us that how valuable can be the use of alternate data to drive upsell, cross-sell opportunities?
I think that's an interesting one. And for example, at Razorpay, right? So we have a lot of non-publicly available information, surrogate data points that help us give a sense of how credit worthy, an SME or a startup is. For example, let's say that Priyank is a customer with Razorpay. I see that he does strong volumes through the Razorpay payments product. His fraud to sale ratios, his chargeback to sale ratios, etc., are very low. I also pull in data points from a few publicly available, credit scoring databases, etc. Everything checks off. So I can actually take a very informed call on what line of credit I can actually offer for Priyank, hypothetically. Now I have access to both publicly available data points, which are surrogate signals from a Razorpay perspective. I also have access to data points from internal Razorpay ecosystem behavior, which gives me a very accurate sense of how credit worthy Priyank is. Something that, for example, a third-party financial provider wouldn't have access to. So making sure that you have access to all of these data points is very essential. For example, even our Magic Checkout offering that we've recently launched, there again, we have multiple kinds of alternative data points coming in. We have data points for example, Priyank has checked out in a particular e-commerce website and he's used a particular address, he's used a particular saved card. Now, wherever Priyank as an end customer, in this case, in this example, Priyank as an end customer checks out on any other website, as long as he uses the Razorpay checkout, I can use his address, I can use his saved card, which is already part of the Razorpay portfolio, to maximize conversion rates for that particular e-commerce website. So again, I'm accessing alternative data points which are stored within the Razorpay ecosystem to make sure that I'm able to provide, more seamless user experience, both for the end customer and for the merchant or the business which is with Razorpay. So I think that's very important from a cross-selling, upselling perspective and in terms of improving user experience.
Understood. So given that we just brought in Priyank as well. So Priyank, we have one more question from Mr. Mir Muhammad Ali, who wants to understand what are the parameters that should be considered while tracking behavioral data?
Okay. See, behavioral data depends on multiple factors. So at Tata 1mg, how do we segregate those particular things, and how do we take or how do we make cohort out of it? So one of the behavior which can be tracked is whether this particular customer is discount savvy or not discount savvy. So one of the cohort is that if this particular customer applies a promo code in each and every ordering that he is doing, that means this particular customer is quite discount savvy. Also, we also track the device, which device this particular customer is using. If it is an iOS customer and if it is using a discount, that means he's a premium customer but still discount savvy. But if it's like iOS and not using the discount code, that means he's not a discount savvy customers. Second behavior is that how many sessions a particular customer takes for completing an order, or what are the pages that he visits in a particular journey. So sometimes what happens, we see that once a person comes to your app, he adds the medicine on the cart, and on the go, in one flow, they go to the payment page and make the payment. But there are certain customers who hover around on offers, who look on the offers page a lot, whose session timers are quite large as compared to other customers. That means these customers are quite demanding and they want more and more, from the brand. So their behavior is like explorer behavior, but the former case was more of a very simple type of user who is coming and who is just ordering into that. Another type of behavior that is we are measuring is that the loyalty, how much loyal you are for our brand. Either you are coming on month-on-month basis for filling your bucket of medicines, or you are not coming on month-on-month basis and you are like a dormant customer. You are coming one time, but you are not coming for the second time, third time, fourth time. Probably you are again coming for the sixth time. Then we analyze that whether it's like for the discount, you are looking for a discount, or you are looking for something else. So those are the things that we look upon. So these are the couple of the behavior parameters that we look upon, but based on the industry, more and more behaviors can be added and can be modified.
Got it. And one final question very quickly. We have already overshot the time, and this is specifically for you, Jinal. Suhani is asking you, she wants to know more about identifying loyal customers and how you have implemented them on other customers.
Thank you for the question, Suhani. So, as per the identification of a loyal customer, we use the RFM method, which is your recency, frequency, and monetary, to identify who the loyal customers are. Definitely, the monetary value is much high. Their frequency and recencies are also high. So we export these users, then we try to see their behavior in the user flow. So right from app install to the next 10 steps, what they did, and then we try to analyze how much time they took. So let's say from install to registration, if they took 5 hours, or from add to cart to purchase, they took another 10 hours. So basis on these data, we then make a onboarding journey for the rest of my customers. So right from the trigger, which is install, when the person should get a push notification for registration, or from add to cart, when the person should get a SMS for your cart abandon checkout, is all based on the best use cases that my loyal customers have already done on the platform. I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that brings us to a wrap for this session. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Janil. Thank you, Ved. Thank you, Priyank, for taking out this time, being a part of this panel. It was a wonderful experience for me. I hope the audience as well really loved the session that we had and the insights that our panelists were able to provide. And I would also request the audience to not leave the session. We have one more session lined up, which is being led by Gaurav Taparia from my own team, and that's on leveraging insights-led personalization to create unique brand experiences. Again, thank you so much, guys, for the experience today. Hope to have such sessions very soon again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us.